All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live for NASCAR Cup Series practice and qualifying for the Xfinity 500 from Martinsville Speedway. And as we get this practice session underway, we're actually about 10 minutes in already. NASCAR 25 running just a little bit long again here today. So now we are live for the live commentary portion of this weekend's NASCAR race coverage from the paperclip Martinsville Speedway. Short track racing for what could be the second to final time of the year. Some consider Phoenix a short track. I do. I think a race is like a short track. Steve Letarte agrees with me. Every time they go to Phoenix and he's in the broadcast booth for the championship race these last several years, he'll say the same thing. But anyway, half-mile traditional short track here today. And hopefully we have a good race for tomorrow. True TV, for visual purposes, is where you can watch practice and qualifying taking place. We have 37 cars on the entry list for this weekend. 19 of them are in this first group for practice. Qualifying, of course, immediately after practice. Group 2 will get their 25-minute session shortly. But for right now, turn it over to the booth that has Marty Snyder, Steve Letarte, and Jeff Burton in it. So you can listen to all the updates in live time that I can't really give you guys for the practice side, and I'll take over for qualifying when we get there.
Is going to become more difficult this weekend than what we've seen in the last few weeks.
Started
last few years.
Sliming up on the right side. So look where this right side tire, this 99 goes. About clear and clean. The concrete looks at the bottom, and look how much darker it looks up a little bit. So the concrete's starting to take rubber. That will instantly change how these cars drive. There's a great shot. So right here, you see down here where the lefts are, right, it's pretty clean. This whole area right here. But up here where the right side tires are going, it is really sliming up. I mean, you can literally watch the tire tracks being put down. That's so awesome to see that. And that is magic. When that starts to clump up, Marty, it'll start to stick. It'll get so thick that it almost looks like maybe a sponge would look. Like it's this porous, slimy area of black. And then you actually have to move up the racetrack and straddle it. You don't want to put your tires in it when it starts to get like that. So
they ran the truck race here last night, and we rolled in here this morning. The track looked like nothing had been on it.
Yeah.
It was perfectly clean. Now you can see this tire is just putting a ton of rubber on top of the racetrack.
But Steve, it's a brand new left side tires for the Cup Series teams to deal with and to learn in this practice session. We're seeing all this fall off, but you're talking about the right side tires laying down all the rubber. So is this fall off because of the new left side, or is it the right side that seems to be falling off, in your opinion?
Well, all four matter. And really, if the left side loses grip, it doesn't have to put rubber on the racetrack. If the rubber's still getting worn off the tire or it's losing grip, it makes the right sides work harder. You know, all four tires, it's a recipe. They don't, you know, I had this argument with people all the time. All four tires and all four corners of the race car affect one another. So I think the answer to that question is yes and yes. It's all kind of mixed together.
Kyle Busch right here, he's got good speed. He's gotten up to third fastest and overall average. That's a very good stack to look at right now because you have a lot of cars that have run the same number of laps up the racetrack right there. But even at getting up the racetrack, he was able to get the car pointed and turn. You can see now we're showing 5-lap average. Look at him; he's pushing the groove up a little bit, and that's what we'll see as this track rubbers up. You'll see the drivers start hunting around, looking for different places on the racetrack. He's up the middle of the racetrack. Josh Berry right on the curve.
Ooh. Going 3 in right there. 7 looks good.
You used to come here, Steve, and if you weren't on the bottom, there was something wrong. And then we go through phases where all of a sudden the second lane will work, or 3/4 of the way up the bottom lane will work. Josh Berry, left front lock up.
There's a lot of cars a little more unstable appearing than I thought on corner entry. There's last week's winner, Chase Briscoe.
Big win at Talladega, standing inside turn 2, learning what he can learn in this practice
This
session.
is what makes the track so great. There's no place I'd rather be than standing inside this racetrack watching these guys run laps. They are so good at what they do.
Got David Green standing there kind of checking things out. Former Xfinity Series championship. Look at them kind of walk.
But that was a point up.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
That was a Briscoe saying they are running. I know international drivers
It up.
and that was up a half a lane right there, the point up.
Dave Burns, what's happening on pit road?
So it's kind of interesting. A couple things real quick on the 99, Steve. This may relate to the, and Jeff, to the which lane do you use. They told him it was a good curb route, but it wasn't helping his exit. So maybe that line is moving around a little bit. As for the aided Kyle Busch, talked to Andy Street, his crew chief, before the session got going, and he said it's so fun to work with a veteran like Kyle because he kind of knows what direction to make sure everyone's going. And I said, was that a direction that you liked in March at this race, and you're just going from that, or is it brand new? He said, no, we're building on what we had here in March. And even though Andy knows he's an interim crew chief right now, they're trying to do the best they can for Kyle, trying to get him a win before the season's out. 2 chances left.
Could happen here. You never know.
Yeah, and look, but you get the car driving good enough and get him in track position. Kyle Busch, can still work a track like this and knows all the little nuances of what makes this place special.
Kyle Busch coming back to pit road. Someone else knows it's special. Oh, Mr. Letarte, you've won here a couple of times.
Yeah, that was great. First ever win back in 05, and then I got to finish my career off here with Dale Jr. back in 14. Love this place.
John Cena and Nicole Byer host Wipeout. New season premieres November 4th on CBS.
This will be a tremendous matchup.
That was a terrible time of trying to stick a peanut butter cracker in my mouth. They were cutting right to commercial. I had no idea. That was a hard cut. So A.J. Allmendinger, faster than anybody else yet in Group 1 practice. His colleague, teammate, oddly enough, Ty Dillon, is currently second. The Michael McDowell third. Ryan Preece for Jonathan Nemechek rounds out the overall Fast 5. Kyle Busch in 6th. Daniel Suarez currently 7th. Alex Bowman 8th. Eric Jones 9th. Josh Berry in 10th. Justin Haley 11th. Noah Gragson 12th. Chris Buescher 13th. Riley Herbst 14th. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 15th. Austin Dillon 16th. Then Austin Cindric 17th. Cody Ware 18th. Casey Mears 19th. And Cole Custer will be in the next group, it looks like. So those are the 19 drivers. Quite a few laps have already been taken on this Martinsville Speedway. About 8 minutes left in this session. Some drivers have ran 45 plus laps already. And on the lap average sheet, the fastest 5-lap average and 10-lap average, both A.J. Allmendinger from this group. Fastest 20 and 15-lap average for Daniel Suarez. Josh Berry with the fastest 25-lap average. And then Berry and Suarez fastest in the 30-lap categories. As you heard there, Kyle Busch a little bit better on the long run side of things from this group as well, right there behind Berry and Suarez. Track taking a lot of rubber. Same right side tires today as what we had at New Hampshire, and I believe Richmond. Well, we are going to see a decent amount of tire fall off, not to the extent of Bristol Motor Speedway, another half-mile short track we raced at earlier in the playoffs. But there's definitely rubber being laid down.
A few laps, big tires, 3 off.
That's going to be fun tomorrow afternoon here in Martinsville. Not that there's anything on the line in this race. Man, Chris Buescher just would love to get a finish in the books for that one at Talladega last week. What a hard hit for Buescher, and was in position, really at that point, Jeff, to win the race.
Yeah, it really was. You think about 2 of the bigger hits. Well, the front of the pack, right? Both of them leading the race. He and A.J. Allmendinger leading the race and got wrecked. That is a big impact.
And I've watched this push gone wrong a lot of times, and I can't tell you what was wrong. Normally there's some movement or there's something obvious. It was a little off center, but I guarantee over 500 miles we saw 50 pushes the same way that worked. And that one, it happened, I mean, in a snap. That 17, it didn't like start to get loose and try to catch it a little bit. It spit right off the front bumper of that 24.
I mean, I hate to say it, but is that the price of the way they race these super speedway races these days? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's just you have to push your line to get moving forward, but that's not new. I mean,
No.
my first race at Daytona, I recognize this is different. Like, this is a different animal than what I'm accustomed to doing. And it's been like that my entire career. Now, the pushing and the bump tracking and all that has gotten to another level for sure. But it's just been the nature of racing ever since I've been around.
Jeff, you pointed out one car that's really impressed you on the longer run, and that will be the story all day tomorrow in Martinsville. It's Michael McDowell.
Yeah, I think his pace is really good right here. 51 laps. And I think Josh Berry is the best car, but the 71 car is right there with him.
12th at Martinsville in the spring, and there's the 15-lap average. Michael McDowell stacks up 7th. I think the kind of run you're talking about, though, Jeff, going much longer than just 15 laps, Dave.
So Marty, crew chief Travis Peterson just radioed his driver and said, your diamond is more than anybody. And it's giving you good exit. That may be some of the speed is coming from. Jeff, what do you think?
Well, that's a great point, Dave. And the question is that good or not? Right? So the reason I asked that question, and we don't know the answer, is what is this rubber buildup going to do? Or is it going to build up on the racetrack? So are you going to be able to diamond the corner? Is that going to work tomorrow after all of this rubber gets laid down? And that's just a question we don't know, right? So as a race car driver, what you have to be willing to do is to actually run some laps you might not be happy with. So put the thing on the curve. Just get the left side tires all the way on the curve, all the way around the corner. See what it drives like. See what my car needs to do better there. Then diamond the racetrack. Like Dave just talked about, Michael McDowell is doing. You have to put it in multiple situations in this long run so you can communicate to your team what it did well in every situation and what it did for them.
Steve, you were wondering what would happen if you got into the marbles. Riley Herb said, well, I'll show you. This is what will happen when you get into the marbles.
He gave us a little science experiment.
Yeah.
See here on corner entry that's entering turn. Whoop, boy, wow. So he just
Loose. He's got really loose.
just had to straighten the tire or straighten the wheel up, and now he's picking up all of that mess on his tires.
And that will take him how long to clean off this tire?
You start to trust it really after about probably 2 laps. You start to trust the first corner, you hate it. And then the second corner, it definitely gets better. Then it gets better yet again. The problem is in the race, 2 laps means about 20 spots, right? So that can come at the wrong time. It can really hurt you. Riley Herb's pace is pretty decent here, though. You know, 58 laps. He's got a pretty decent speed.
Showing you 15-lap average a couple of times. Daniel Suarez still on top of that. Some news with Suarez this week, Steve, and Spire next year to be in the 7 car. And, you know, nice to see Daniel landing somewhere.
Yeah, you hate it for Justin Haley, who's out there now looking for a ride, but for Daniel, I believe it's going to be a good fit. I think, you know, it's been announced now for a bunch of weeks that he wasn't going to be back in this 99, and I talked about how much I think Spires continue to improve. And when I look at McDowell there and Hocevar, I think Swartz kind of fits that bill. Like, he's not a young driver, but he's also perhaps still has a bunch of years ahead of him. So he can go in there, plug into their program, continue to get good feedback. It's in another Chevrolet, so he's going from Chevy to Chevy. So the key members of the manufacturer that he's talking to, he's used to talking to, the tools he's used to looking at, those will all be similar. So I think that'll help the learning curve.
I think, you know, it's kind of crazy to think about for Daniel Suarez. This will be his 5th Cup team, Jeff. So how can that help Spire? Because he's seen it work at Joe Gibbs Racing and at Stewart Haas and at Trackhouse. Now he brings that experience to Spire.
Well, we heard some of the executives of Spire talking about how they're kind of in the same situation. They're both desperate, right? So when you've had multiple teams, those things haven't always worked the way you wanted to do. Now, there are cases that you don't want to leave and a team didn't want you to leave and it just had to happen. But I think Daniel Suarez now, like, he's even more desperate, right? He already is an aggressive race car driver. He already cares a lot about it. But now it's like, okay, I got to get this done right now. And it just raises the intensity. But I think he can bring something. They can bring something to each other. I think that's what I like about this pairing. You said it. The most difficult part of this sport is that he has an opportunity, and unfortunately, it's at the cost of Justin Hayden, right?
Yeah.
It's just part of the sport. It happens to drivers. It happens to crew members. It happens to engineers, crew chiefs. You know, it happens. It's just part of it. It happens in every single sport. But a young guy like Justin Haley doesn't mean his career is over by any means. He can find a ride, hopefully in the Xfinity series or the Truck series, and show what he can do, right? And try to work himself back up to the Cup series. So yes, it's a big blow to a driver to lose this cup ride. It is heartbreaking for sure, but in many cases, Dale Jarrett was one, Mark Martin was one. There's several people that went on to be incredible race car drivers that lost their jobs and came back and found a way to be successful. So that's what you have to look at.
Some good points for Justin Haley, who at one point kind of looked like he was in the pipeline for Hendrick Motorsports, but now will be looking for a ride in 2026. I'm sure he will find somewhere to land. Practice Group 1 wrapping up quickly here. Only 40 some seconds left. Team, what did you learn in this group?
Well, I learned that the tires are putting rubber down on the concrete, which is something I wanted to see. The marbles tells me that both the rights and the lefts are wearing. I can't wait to see some tires off the cars. And then, Jeff, to your point, I think it's a little more fall off than we've seen. It's not dramatic. AJ Allmendinger right here, he's slowed down about 6 or 7 tenths of a second. We'll see if that's just this group or if the second group that'll come out on a more mature racetrack, they'll still have the same thing. But that'll tell me there'll be differing strategies, and not every car will slow down the same amount, which should make for a good race.
I think that's the key. Is that what I'm looking at is a car that doesn't handle well, it falls off more speed than a car that does handle well. In the past, we've seen that really not be the case. Everybody kind of fell off the same amount, but I'm not seeing that today. I do see some difference. And I see in practice like that right there. We just saw AJ Allmendinger get loose on corner entry, right? So the braking power of the race cars isn't a given, right? So watch this right here. AJ Allmendinger drives in the corners on the brakes. Look at the back of the car. It is not connected to the racetrack. So up the racetrack he goes. I would say the very first time we came here, Steve, with this car, I never saw that. I stood outside. It froze. I was freezing that race. But I never saw a car lose traction on corner entry for the entire race. And I've seen it a lot of times today in practice.
Interesting Group 1, but the playoff drivers coming up here in Group 2. The round of 8 wraps up.
All right,
here
so
at
the 8 playoff drivers, along with 10 other non-playoff drivers, will be in Group number 2, your fast 10, if you will, for this group. AJ Allmendinger fastest overall, then Ty Dillon second, Michael McDowell third, Ryan Preece fourth, Jonathan Nemechek fifth, Kyle Busch in 6th, 7th for Daniel Suarez, Alex Bowman 8th, Eric Jones 9th, Josh Berry 10th. So that rounds out Group 1 practice. Group 2 on the way, and then single car qualifying immediately after. And with this being a half-mile short track, there will be 2 laps of qualifying per driver. And again, 37 cars in the field this weekend. Only part-time team that showed up this week will be the 66 of NBM, Casey Mears. Driving that ride, he was in the truck race last night, and he also ran the Cup race at Martinsville back in the spring, and he ran the Cup race last week at Talladega also. Kind of a busy fall for Casey Mears in the NASCAR ranks. I haven't given any shout-outs to those of you watching the stream yet. I apologize for that. We were a little late coming in. Marcus Villarreal, welcome to the stream. Bam Hall, Austin Fuller, Frank Powers, Patrick Chatterley, Connor Burke, Brett Whitesides, Deborah Carolla, welcome to the stream, everyone. I'm curious to see what AJ can do in qualifying because he qualified on the pole at Bristol. And then he was one of the drivers that couldn't really, they didn't have the setup, I guess, maybe for him to be able to take care of his tires in the race. And it was a non-factor all throughout. But if we don't have as much tire wear this weekend, a good qualifying effort, maybe AJ could fare much better than he did at Bristol. But he could be a sneaky underdog to go for the pole, since he does have one already, and it came within the last couple months. Somewhat similar track in size, maybe not in the dimensions. Point standings have been scrolling across the top of the screen. We'll take a quick glance, obviously, on the big screen as to what that looks like coming into this weekend. Obviously, this is the elimination race. Round of 8 will have the cutoff for the Championship 4 after the conclusion of 500 laps tomorrow. Chase Briscoe, Denny Hamlin with wins in the round. Briscoe last week at Talladega, and Denny Hamlin before that at Las Vegas in the first race of the round. Christopher Bell setting plus 37 points as they try to get all 3 JGR Toyotas into the Championship 4. Kyle Larson plus 36, and he is the last driver above the cut line. must-win situations for Chase Elliott mathematically, more than likely for Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, and William Byron. Byron minus 36, minus 38 for Logano, and minus 47 for Blaney, but at minus 62 for Elliott, again, he mathematically has to win. The rest of them more than likely would, unless an early incident takes out Bell or Larson. And we did see an early incident last night in the truck race, which eliminated a driver, Roger Carruth, though he came in plus 14 versus a plus 37 or 36 point gap for Larson and Bell. It's going to be a little bit harder to knock them out, but not impossible. In the event of seeing a different winner, somebody 5th through 8th in the point standings going into tomorrow's race, if we get a new winner, then either Larson or Bell will get knocked out, and there's only 1 point separating Bell and Larson. So that will be the points race, and I think we're really going to have to watch tomorrow. Is basically straight up who's going to be better, Bell or Larson, in case a Byron, Logano, Blaney, or Elliott win. And by the way, Byron's won here 2 times in his Cup career. Blaney's won the last 2 fall races. Logano hasn't won here since 2018, but he does have 12 straight top 10 finishes here, most of any active driver. And Chase Elliott, another winner, former, here at Martinsville. In fact, of the round of 8 competitors, only Chase Briscoe is the driver who has not won a race at Martinsville in his Cup career. And even Briscoe has 6 top 10s in his last 7 starts at the track, most of which obviously with SHR. And he had a top 10 back in the spring with JGR as well. Sharitha Cooper, thanks for tuning in. We'll take a quick break, and I'll let you listen in to True TV's coverage of practice again. Group 2 will be coming up shortly.
In the playoffs, Jeff, man, the last few laps at Talladega just changed everything. Watch the left-hand side of your screen and how the points change.
Just watch the points and how one lap at Talladega, how much can happen. Kyle Larson looks like he's in a great position to win this race. That would have locked him in had he won. Runs out of gas down the back straightaway. William Byron thinks, okay, now I'm in good shape. Look at the points. William Byron now only 15 points behind.
Goes from plus 39 to plus 15.
Briscoe with a move to the inside of Bubba Wallace, and William Byron for the 2nd week in a row, looking like he's going to have a good finish. Gets spun around. Look at how many points he loses.
See, that was 55 points, according to that team, that they lost between what happened in Las Vegas in stage 3 and what happened on the last lap at Talladega last week.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. I was making a footnote to not let you guys give me a pep talk. Anytime shooting. I'm over here going, oh, yeah, this is
Just
great.
now.
Let me show you guys where everything went wrong for these guys last week.
But Jeff, you talked to William about that.
Yes, and it was a very interesting conversation because he's been coming in here kind of chasing points, right? Like, okay, we got to finish 5th, or we got to do this, or we got that. Well, this week he's like, okay, I know it sounds silly, but it's almost like a weight off my shoulders. Like now I just know what I got to do. Got to come in here and win this race. And he was very relaxed. He was very relaxed. Feels like they didn't do anything wrong the last 2 weeks. Just got themselves in this position, but he was extremely calm about it. He's like, now we know what we got to do. We just got to go do it.
Well, if it moves their fall numbers, then that's an approach they have to have because they are unbelievable here in the spring, and they are very average here in the fall. So if this new freedom is the mix, they're gonna have to lean into it.
Okay, Brian, craziest touch.
All right. Commercial break here in between the 2 practice sessions. A little bit of a break period, I guess. Kind of similar to what we have between practice and qualifying. We'll get there a little later. Appreciate you all tuning in, watching for today's live commentary stream. I'll practice the qualifying for the NASCAR Cup Series. Xfinity Series racing will be later tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern as well. Round of 8 finale for them. Corey Heim won the truck race last night. Congratulations to him. 11th win of the season. And 24 races for Heim. So he goes for the championship next week. He'll be racing against Ty Majeski, Caden Honeycutt, and Tyler Ankrum. For the championship for Majeski, the former champion, defending champion, if you will. Last race win came in that Phoenix finale last year. He had 3 wins last season, all on short tracks. None so far this year. ThorSport Racing as a whole has not had a win. And as for Honeycutt, no wins in his career. And the Craftsman Truck Series, but still has a shot to go for the title this weekend. Next weekend, I guess, 6 days from now. Tyler Ankrum, his first career championship 4 appearance, 1 win on the year at Rockingham, and a fuel mileage win. 2 career wins total for Ankrum in the Truck Series. So those are your championship 4 there. Again, next Friday night at Phoenix is when that race will take place. I'll be at Phoenix for the championship race weekend next week, so there will be no live commentary streams. This is the final weekend of live commentary coverage on the channel. So we're down to just 2 days. And honestly, with when the Cup race is going to end, we're about 24 hours away from having the final live commentary stream of the season. So thank you all so much for staying tuned in here every year, year after year, these last couple of years, since starting the live commentary journey here on the channel, and all season long, especially if you've been along or a newcomer throughout the course of the year, to keep coming back, tuning in every weekend for NASCAR live commentary coverage like this. And we'll have it back again for 2026. First live commentary stream scheduled for next year will be the Rolex 24 at Daytona. I did that this last year. I didn't do heavy promotion with that, so a lot of people probably don't know that I even did it. But we still had a pretty good turnout for it all in all over the course of the 24 hours. It's cool seeing you guys kind of pop in like every 3-4 hours throughout the course of the race. We have more overnight viewers than I thought we were going to have, so that was also really fun there. I was scared that there was going to be like nobody watching overnight. And I was going to be the only one that was going to be a little harder to stay awake, but made it through it. It was a grind, and I'm willing to do that on an annual basis, so we'll go for it again next year. Really, I mean, if you think about it, we're only about 2 months away. 3 months, about 3 months away from the Rolex 24 again in mid-January. About this weekend, 3 months from now. And then obviously your regular NASCAR coverage for next season, Truck, Xfinity, Cup Racing, Cup Racks, and Qualifying. I have no idea what races I'm going to next season. I'd like to have a schedule in the off season, and then like post that before the start of next year as to what races I plan on going to, and then stick to that schedule so you guys know well in advance rather than just a week or two before. I have been stating I'll be going to the championship race at Phoenix for about a month now. Final race for the championship, at least, at Phoenix for at least the time being. So trying to take advantage and go back out there. Missed the truck race the last time I was there, so try to catch all 3 next weekend. Cup cars on the racetrack as we begin Group 2 practice.
What I love about this racetrack. No aerodynamics. None of the other stuff. Mechanical grip. Driver skill.
Larson saw he'll pull out of the way. I don't know if maybe he was
Straightening the steering wheel.
Yeah, exactly. You can take the steering wheel off these race cars, and if it's not lined up the way you want to line it up, you can unhook it and move it. Don't know that's what he was doing, but possibility.
All right, Steve, so let's talk about these playoff drivers. And we have talked a lot this week about Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, their position. They are 1 point apart, as you see right there on the left-hand side of your screen, Bell with that 1 point advantage. So is it as simple as boiling it down to a straight-up points race between the 20 and the 5? They must match each other head for head for whatever they do during the day tomorrow.
Absolutely. And if you let anything else distract you from that and you miss out, shame on you. I don't care if it's the win. I don't care what it is. Your goal today, if you're Kyle Larson and this weekend, needs to be to advance to Phoenix with a chance to win the championship. The same goes for Christopher Bell. And the clear path without any asterisk, could be, should be, maybe this, is if you outrun the other in points, you are through. We can't have 2 winners. So it's that simple to me, Jeff, and I would call the race that way. If somebody does something crazy, I would probably follow or match their crazy, not let somebody gamble to beat me.
Christopher Bell told me this week that he expected Byron, Logano, Blaney, Elliott, one of those 4 to win. He says, go back and look at the history of these playoffs. Somebody finds a way to step up many times. And if you look at the 4 that have a chance, all of them are capable of winning. So he comes into this race thinking, I have got to beat the 5 car. That is the entire goal, is to beat the 5 car. Of course, the best way to beat him is to win. And that locks you in. But he is convinced that he will have to do that to go to Phoenix. Hey,
So, Jeff, if you look at the left side of the screen, third quick in single lap times was Michael McDowell. He just got moved down a little bit, and he will during this session. But I just spoke to him, and I said, what would you tell the playoff drivers who are now going out with this new left side tire? He said, I would tell them not to panic. We just laid down a bunch of rubber with that new softer left side tire. They're going to pick it all up in the first 10 laps. But after that, they're going to find some speed. So don't panic. Just practice.
Well, David, I think it's an advantage to go out second. We talk about it every week, right? The difference between the first and second group. But being on the racetrack after that first group, when they have put that rubber down, I think it gives this team, this group, a distinct advantage for early in the race, right? Not for the whole 500 laps, but early in the race, I do think it's a knowledge advantage.
You see how much cleaner it is, just running around slow for a couple laps. Now having to qualify one car at a time will clean the racetrack completely up. With all the cars out there at once, as Hamlin goes to the top of the board, no surprise there. Wallace second, Larson third. Gibbs, Elliott, Byron. I mean, this group is stacked up. It is going to be so. I can't wait for tomorrow. I'm telling you, there won't be many laps where all 8 aren't inside the top 10. It is going to be just a slugfest.
Larson being held up a little bit right here by Reddick.
He's going to show him the nose, like, hey, buddy, work with me here. And Reddick says, yep, all right, you're faster.
That's exactly what that was. He just turned left, said, hey, man, I'm faster. Let me roll here.
That's like the NASCAR version of flashing your headlights. You know, it's like, I'm applying me. That's me flashing my headlights.
Conversation with Larson was pretty interesting this week. And I said, it seems like to me, as many short tracks as you raced growing up, like, you have to feel comfortable here. And he said, no. He said, if you think about when he grew up racing, you don't slow down the car. Like, you know, sprint cars, etc. They have so much corner speed in the center of the corner. Here, you really slow the car way down and then accelerate the car back. And he's like, it's completely different than what I grew up doing. So it's hard. He said a hard time getting the rhythm of this racetrack and feeling like he's comfortable here.
In green, which would be 2 drivers, Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe, have advanced to the championship 4 already.
Chase Elliott at the top of the board. I'm telling you, I've been saying this all week. I feel like this is a 9-car weekend. If it stays a little bit cooler, this new tire, it's like old school Martinsville, super patient. And his crew chief, Alan Gustafson, knows this place. 3 wins here. He's won with Jeff Gordon, the master. He taught me how to race here. He taught Alan how to race here. He's taught Hendrick Motorsports how to race here. And I think Chase, this personality just suits what I think we're going to see here. Long runs, tire maintenance. That is this guy to a T. Him, I think it's going to be a Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott, absolute show at the front of the field.
And if you think about Alan Gustafson's 3 wins here, 2 of them were in must-win scenarios. One with Jeff Gordon, one with Chase Elliott in 2020. They went on to win the championship this year, or that year in 2020. And Jeff, I think people forget about the spring race. They go, well, Denny Hamlin dominated, he won the race. But the second best car was Chase Elliott, who said, hey, if I just could have gotten past Denny Hamlin on that final restart, we would have won the race, not the 11.
Well, think about the recent finishing for Chase Elliott here. 4th, a 2nd, and a 3rd, right? So he's put himself in position to win those races. The key, if you have a fast race car, to win at Martinsville is you cannot lose track position, right? You cannot have bad pit stops. You cannot have bad restarts. And you can't lose your temper. You're going to get run into. Somebody's going to run into the backup. Somebody's going to run into your door. That's where this guy, Denny Hamlin, is so good at managing these races. He understands that they're long, and you have to get to the end and have yourself in the position that you need to be in.
I'm laughing. Why are you laughing?
Well, because not only does he manage his temper, but he infuriates yours. It's like he's so good. He's like, I know what's going to irritate this guy, and he does it, and just like until your skin boils, and then you make a mistake, and then he kind of cruises on. He's on both the offense and the defense.
And he makes speed do it, right? Anybody can go around here and be calm and not be mad, but how do you make speed? And I just think Denny has such a unique feel to his race cars, and you got to know this guy is hungry. I know he's kind of downplayed championship a little bit, but there is no question that Denny Hamlin, a Hall of Fame driver, no question he's going to be a Hall of Fame driver, but he wants a championship, right? Everybody wants a championship, and it's easy to say, hey, we know he's locked in, we know he's going to next week, But Steve, I think this is a week where this team, as well as the 19 team, they can use this as a little bit of a dress rehearsal. Yeah. Like, let's put all the pressure on us this week. Let's go in here and say we have to win this race. Like, let's take that mentality so that when we go next week, it's kind of pretend, but when we go next week, we've been there. We've lived it. I think this is an opportunity for both of those teams.
Well, when you talk about Denny Hamlin and Martinsville and why he's so good, I have watched a tremendous amount of game tape on this guy right here. You name it, even as a crew chief and now as a broadcaster. And I will tell you, the magic in my mind is when nothing's lit up. So I want you to watch right here. I joked earlier about doing nothing. Watch Denny Hamlin. He's going to be heavy on the brake, off the gas. Now watch when nothing lights up. Right there. That's the magic. I know that sounds crazy, but he waits. He's at a spot in the corner, right here on the curb. Nobody's going by him. Nobody's catching him. And he just lets the car 5 feet, 7 feet. He lets it go just a little further around the corner. So when he goes to the throttle, when this gas does go this direction right here, look at just how, it's just one sweeping move to the throttle. It is so impressive to watch how patient he is around the curb right here.
So to that point, Steve, if it is indeed a softer left side tire, and indeed it wears out more, is that going to put more of an advantage in the 11 camp this weekend?
As long as the car does what he asks it to do, which I believe it will, this team's very good. I just feel like this is old school. This is what we've been wanting. So look at the short track. It's no secret this car when it came here, Jeff, the first couple times, the corner entry speed was so high, they couldn't spin each other out, everything. But there's been a lot of changes to the car, a lot of changes to the tire, and I've had this one circled for a few months now. We have seen tires make a huge difference at other short tracks. We've seen them work in a place like Kansas, and I think this is the ultimate venue for all of that to kind of get mixed together.
When you're saying is it an advantage to Denny Hamlin, everything Steve just said about when you're watching his race, think about it. He's not making anything mad. He's not putting a lot of brake in the center of the corner. He's not driving heat into the tires. He's not making the rear tires mad. He's got everything happy right now. Even his car's not perfect, right? But he's managing that. That's how special Denny Hamlin is. He's able to take the experience that he's had, the feel that he has. And these are just kind of races that at this point in his career, he's good at every kind of race. But these are the kind of races that I just feel like he is at his best.
Jeff, the group that everyone will have their eyes on tomorrow evening, Team Penske, Joey Logano, Ryan Blaney, both in must-win scenarios. And Steve, I think it's maybe, Ryan Blaney, you could argue, would have been the favorite coming into this race. We'll see what happens after practice. But I would say either Team Penske car could go to victory lane tomorrow night and put themselves in the championship four.
They could. They're both good, but one has been great. And that's the difference. I believe that Logano, you never want to vote against Logano. They find ways, but it doesn't strike me that he's going to come here and dazzle us on speed and lead a bunch of laps and just wow us to victory lane. Ryan Blaney could. Ryan Blaney right now is really decent on speed. He's third of all the laps run here. He's in the top 5 when you look at 15 laps. So, but this 12 car is the best when the track is the worst. At the end of the race with all the slime on the racetrack, that's when the 12 shows up. Joey Logano can do it, Jeff, but something, I don't know. I've just never seen Joey Logano be the guy to come lead 200 or 300 laps here where Blaney, I feel, could pull that off. Mama, what do you think about Team Penske?
That's the group, guys, that if you ask anyone on the road who you need to keep out of Phoenix, it's a Team Penske car. And Joey Logano is one of those guys that just rises to the occasion. Last year, his wife stopped me in victory lane after they won their championship. Put her finger in my chest. Do not ever count Joey Logano out. And looking at it right now, it's 7.4. Good on average speed. I talked to Joey right before he strapped in, and there was an eerie laser focus about him. Like, I've been here, done that. Guys, the confidence in the 22 to get it done is an all-time high.
So, Jeff, I think Mamba touched on something interesting there, that the collective playoff field, they don't want Joey Logano and Ryan Blaney in the championship four because they know they would be the favorites when it comes to Phoenix next week. Is Martinsville that dissimilar from Talladega where the rest of the field can have an effect of whether or not a Team Penske car makes the championship four?
Outrun them. That's what you have to do. And I will tell you that so far, I will tell you that other teams have brought more pace to the racetrack than they have. I think Chase Elliott looks really, really fast. William Byron looks really, really fast. And Denny Hamlin, I think Those three cars right there. I think that's the best three cars at the racetrack from what I'm seeing.
William Byron, we talked about how the last couple of weeks at the end of the race went for that race team. And see, they've been spectacular in the spring here at Martinsville. The fall race has been tough for this group.
I think it's been the perspective of what they've had to do. Jeff just pointed out how he said this doesn't feel like any trip here. I'm relaxed. I got to win. So as you know, I want to see it. I want to see if that shows up. This is it. This is what we want to see. 24 rolling in a groove higher, turning down. I like the option. He doesn't seem to be working a lot to get next to the 9, but the fact that he's continuing to do it tells me that it works.
See, they driven away a little bit from the 11. I think these two cars are just better than everybody. Now, there's a lot of time between now and tomorrow, but if I'm just looking at overall speed, I'm liking what I'm seeing for the 200 cars. It's just, Larson pitted, right?
Yeah.
So he is not as happy with his car.
Hey, let's see, what a turnaround, though, just on pure pace for Hendrick Motorsports since the first round of the playoffs. You go back to Darlington, look at New Hampshire, you look at how they were at, Bristol, and they are a different group here at the end of the playoffs.
Mike Tyson said it well. Everybody has a plan until you get punched in the mouth. And I really think the Hendrick Motorsports felt like they were going to be really good at Darlington. There's no reason why they shouldn't. If in all summer you run very different racetracks, you work on different engine packages, a bunch of things go into the summer. And I just think that them, much like Jeff and I, we had this conversation. We thought Hendrick would show up at Darlington, be Hendrick, be right up front. And then they weren't. And what makes that organization, much like Gibbs and much like Penske, so successful is no one evaluates their performance tougher than their own self-evaluation. And I think that's what happened, right? They said, all right, we got to get to work, figure out some different things. And they found a way to kind of bring it together here in the late stages of the playoffs.
You see that 9 car, the back of the car moving around a little bit free. Denny Hamlin's still making good pace. I feel like the 11, a minute ago I thought the Hendricks were driving away from him, but he has found something. And here he is keeping pace, if not a little better than they are. But all the cars are moving around, right? They're none of them are just, look at the 24 car. Back of the car sliding off the corner.
And
Why is that a good sign? Why is that a good sign?
You just don't want them stuck. When the cars are stuck, there's nothing you can do. You want to see the cars move around. You want to see tire wear become a factor just because it's just a bunch of ingredients that force teams and drivers to display their skills. When the cars are really stuck here, it's just not a lot of option to get by. They're short laps, it's tight corners. Oh man, that 9 car is definitely losing some. That's it. Chase said, all right, that's another it's on for me. So now, Denny, the guy like Denny is like, oh, I see now if I can put some laps together on this 24. 24, you see a little bit of rear sliding out. Just listen at how Denny drives this thing, right? It's such kind of repetitive. Jeff, you got to get into a rhythm, I would imagine, as a driver here.
No question. And it's a game of thousandths of a second, right? So you're making adjustments every lap to what your car is doing well and what it's not doing well. And you're just searching for thousandths of a second. And you can see as this run's gone on, the Hendricks are starting to lose a little bit of grip. Look at the back of the car, 24 car, moving around.
Now, I will tell you, I'm happier with that than if the front goes away. Oh, yeah. I feel like in practice, the back has to go away first because I think the car is going to be overall tighter.
We can see Denny gain on entry there almost every lap on William Byron. That was 42 laps, by the way, for Chase Elliott when he said no loss on that run.
Look at that. There you go. So the Hendrick cars know that Denny Hamlin earlier pulled over and let him go, right? But now the Hendrick cars know, okay, we got some long run work we got to do, right? Our cars took off well, drove really well. They weren't as good on the long run. This 11 car looks like he can do both. Now, somebody that can't is Joey Logano. He is struggling. He is off pace by a significant amount. See his hand out the window. Let Ross Chastain go by. Joey is not happy with this race car at all.
That one looks like the front's not where he wants it to be. Just listen in and see what happens in the middle of the corner.
Blaney, he's not great either. I mean, Blaney just ran a 2075. Denny Hamlin ran a 2037. That is nowhere near the speed that you need to be right now. Now, look, I know better than to count them out. Okay, let's be clear. But they did not unload the way they wanted to.
So, Steve, that's 47 laps into the run here as we're going to watch what happened to Joey Logano. Why not come in? If you're Paul Wolf saying, come in if you're not happy with the car.
I don't think you can make changes to learn anything on these old tires. Let's just see right here. Oh, the 22 has to go up and around. The 38 is running slow. That'll get your attention.
Yeah, give Eddie. You like that all day tomorrow.
Yeah. You know, the first stage is 130 laps. I don't think you can learn anything making changes on old tires. I think you just need to run it out. I would rather know what the car does on old tires.
Mama, what you know?
Yeah, guys, I just jumped down to the 22 pit. What is he saying? Driver 22 fighting a tight condition right here. And at this racetrack, Jeff, there's probably nothing more worse than what a driver wants than being tight when I'm tight Martinsville.
Well, that's exactly right. And the reason that's a problem is that right there, if you're in the middle of the corner and you're still turning the wheel, the guy that's in front of you, if he doesn't have to do that, he's in the gas leaving you. So right here, there is the most important part of the corner. Joey talking about a vibration. At this point in practice, I'm thinking, all right, just bring it to me. Let's don't make a bad situation worse. Car's not driving good enough. Let's go to work. And remember, the 21 car, they have an alliance with this team. The 21 car was very good in practice. So there is, we don't know what setups they have, right? But there is an opportunity to learn something off of that 21.
Paul Wolf making the call to bring Joey Logano to pit road after 51 laps on the track. Ross Chastain turning some laps out on the track. Lap 53 for Ross going on the board. Remember what happened here a couple of years ago, Jeff? Yes, everyone, that is still real time. It is not fast forward. The Hail Melon for Ross Chastain got him into the championship for him. Still crazy to look at it. You're shaking your head, Jeff.
It almost looks like it's not real. Many times that we've seen it. We know it is real. What seems to be
Just a crazy move from Ross Chastain. So Clay Campbell at Martinsville said, I'll give you the wall that Ross ran on to make the Hell Melon happen. And Trackhouse put it in the lobby this week, Steve, along with the Hell Melon car.
Yeah. So it's just a moment that I think needs to be celebrated for its creativity. You know, you can't do it now. Thank goodness. There's a lot of things that could have went wrong. But at the time, it was perfectly legal. And it took a lot of interesting factors. Like, one thing is here you run the third and fourth. You don't run in high gear and fifth. So Ross got to the end of the backstretch. He goes, man, I got a whole nother gear. He just reached over, grabbed fifth, hit the throttle. And it was the kind of the shot heard around the world. It was unbelievable.
Watching that video will never get old.
It does it. I'll never forget that day. Standing here in the booth, looking out the window, trying to figure out who we need to be covering in the closing laps. And that one car just went through 3 and 4, and I was like, I don't know what I'm seeing. I couldn't process what I was seeing live.
Right.
Hey, another car that looks really good. Not in the playoffs, but this 23 of Bubba Wallace. If I look at lap times, he is right there. That last lap was really fast. He has really good speed here.
Martinsville always been one of his best racetracks, coming off that fourth place finish at Talladega as well, Dave.
And Marty, he was told by his crew chief over the radio, really good laps there. Keep it going, pal. Can I get a balance check? And Bubba just came back and said, fine. Now, fine doesn't mean he was short or anything, but Jeff, I think sometimes you're just like, nope, there's no issue there, and I'm just going to keep driving. Fine was just fine.
I mean, there's times that, I don't want to speak for Bubba, but for me, there was times that I just wanted, don't talk to me right now. I am trying to find the hundredths of a second that I've been looking for, right? And where is it? What can I do as a driver? What am I asking of my car that it won't do? Because when Steve, you and I sit down after this practice, I have to give you very, very good information to make this race car better. So, but you see, it's not easy. Even though he's good, you saw right there on corner entry, he had an issue. And back to the Penske cars, we talked about them struggling. I will say that the last 7 or 8 laps, I feel like Blaney has gotten better. Like they're not where they need to be, but the split from where they need to be to some others. Look how loose the back of that car is. It's kind of gotten a little bit better. But you can see he is not happy with the race car. The back is just not stuck.
He's 62 laps into the run, Jeff. That's pretty deep for the car to finally kind of come to life, if you will.
Well, the 9 car, he's only got 52 laps, so there should be an advantage here. That's a good thing. That's what we want to see.
Absolutely.
Bell trying to get by Blaney as well.
I don't know what to make of Bell. Doesn't jump off the page at me. I don't want to say he's good. I don't want to say he's bad. Well, he hasn't done anything yet that says I want to put him with those top 5 or 6 guys. Really, his lap times are super unimpressive.
What if you compare him heads up to Kyle Larson, who he, as we stated earlier, who he's really racing tomorrow?
He's well behind Larson if I'm just looking at speed. If I'm looking at just the 20 and the 5, kind of matched up, it looks like now off the truck, the 5 car is much faster. The real struggle is then they both go down pit road, and then it just gets into a mess of data, Dave, and I can't really make sense of it. But first run to first run, I would give the advantage to Larson over Bell.
Well, earlier in the practice, Steve, Christopher came on the radio and just said, I feel stuck in traffic here. And Adam was like, I'm interpreting Adam bringing him in because he's like, this is not great where he is, so just come on in. They made some adjustments and sent him back out there and has been tooling around ever since. So, Steve, sometimes if your driver just feels stuck, it kind of feels stuck overall, right? Like it's not there yet.
Yeah, maybe just he doesn't have what he needs to pass those cars. Everybody's probably gripped up a little too much in the first 20 laps to make a lot of movements. It's just going to be, these are the things where everybody's like, well, who's good at practice? Some weeks it's clear, and here I have some cars I do think are very, very good, but this 20 I have a hard read on at the moment.
By watching him, I don't think he's happy. Watch his hands. Turns in the corner. Right, tight. But many times I see him, looks like, watch this lap. Gets in the corner, downshifts, turns. Watch this. Back of the car.
I don't love that.
Right, back of the car wasn't in the racetrack. He had to turn the car back to the right. No different than if you're on ice at home and you got to turn the car back to the right, keep from spinning out. And loose in the middle here has no future. Not a successful one. You just cannot make pace if you're loose in the middle.
As quiet as Denny Hamlin looked on that long run, Bell's kind of the opposite. He's very busy behind the wheel, Jeff.
Yeah, and again, these teams are so good. There's a reason that they are where they are in the points, right? And so you don't always unload with the best stuff, but the best teams can find a way between now and qualifying, then again from qualifying to the race to make the changes they need to make to get it as competitive as it needs to be. They're so good at what they do.
Well, Steve said it earlier, the 8 better left. Certainly the Titans in the sports, Scotty heavyweight battle at Martinsville. All these drivers, the 4 below the cut line, have won at Martinsville before. Can they do it when they need to do it? Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell. Going to be fun to watch that points battle tomorrow. Denny Hamlin and Chase Briscoe, they're already locked into the championship 4. Who joins them? We'll find out tomorrow on NBC Sports.
Sarah Benzino, Granville Foley, Koblotsky Auto Body LLC.
What did she call Hartford?
Oh, you mean Jablonski Auto Body LLC?
They actually sold the twins' naming rights.
Like stadiums do. Kids are so expensive these days. Here he comes.
Oasis Breeze 10 and Scott.
You need a 10? I'm your man. To do business with you.
Or we can look at some investment options for you.
What's stress?
The right money moves aren't as absurd as you think.
I was trying to get back before the commercial came on, but practices concluded. Chase Elliott, the fastest overall with a 19.767 as his fastest lap. So will Chase Elliott be able to go to victory lane tomorrow and get himself into the championship 4 in what is practically a must-win situation? Well, it is a must-win situation for the 9 team, mathematically being 62 points out, and you can only score 61 points in a complete race. Without a race win, 54 points is the most you could score in a single race, and there's very few drivers even below that as we go into, the final race of the round of 8. So although Elliott was the fastest on the short run, it did look like on the long run, Denny Hamlin even faster than that. We'll take a look at the lap averages here in a moment. We'll go through the full practice running order First, before we get into the lap average side of things, so again, Chase Elliott was first, Denny Hamlin second, Ty Gibbs third, Bubba Wallace in fourth, Kyle Larson in fifth, and then AJ Allmendinger, who was fastest in Group 1, was sixth overall. Then William Byron 7th, Ty Dillon 8th, Joey Logano 9th, and Todd Gilliland in 10th. Ryan Blaney 11th, Cole Custer 12th, Michael McDowell 13th, 14th for Ryan Preece. John Hunter Nemechek in 15th, Christopher Bell 16th, 17th for Kyle Busch. Daniel Suarez 18th, Ross Chastain 19th, and 20th, Alex Bowman. 21st, Eric Jones, Tyler Reddick 22nd, Josh Berry 23rd, Carson Hocevar 24th, Justin Haley 25th, Chase Briscoe 26th, 27th for Noah Gragson, Chris Buescher 28th, Riley Herbst 29th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 30th. Zane Smith 31st, 32nd for Shane Van Gisbergen and Austin Dillon 33rd, Austin Cindric 34th, Brad Keselowski 35th, Cody Ware 36th, and Casey Mears 37th. Only barely over half a second separating first from last. It's actually pretty competitive for MBM to be that close to the back of the field, no matter who seems to be in that car. So maybe veteran experience with Casey Mears and already running a race at Martinsville earlier this season might have helped that team out a little bit. Dean, welcome to the stream. Chase Elliott doesn't win and go to Phoenix for another championship after tomorrow. Hashtag Team JL. What is that, Joey Logano? Is that your backup? Very interesting. An Elliott / Logano fan. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Yeah, I was on dog duty. My parents are supposed to be back tomorrow, but I don't know what time. Probably going to be after the race starts, if I had to imagine. So I've been away from my chair a couple times over the between last week and this week. I'd say more this week than last week. The start times last week, I was able to feed them before the races, like for Xfinity and trucks on Friday and Saturday. Because they're supposed to eat about 5, but those races started at about 4, so I just fed them an hour early, but I didn't give myself a chance to NASCAR 25 running late for this. I have to let him back outside again after qualifying's done before the Xfinity race later. Xfinity Series racing at 7:30 p.m. Eastern tonight. About 2 hours from now, we'll go live for that one. That will be the third and final stream of the day. We'll be live for tomorrow's NASCAR Cup Series race from the Homestead Miami Speedway. Or sorry, not Homestead, from Martinsville. I was thinking of Homestead because that's where I'm running NASCAR 25 tomorrow. That's why I said Homestead. Running the truck race there tomorrow afternoon. Team members pushing the cars to the front of pit road so we can get practice underway here shortly. Here's William Byron with Dave Burns.
Practice there. What did you experience?
Yeah, I felt really good there to get going. The first 20 to 30 laps, I felt really good. So, I don't know, just try to get a good qualifying balance. As the long run went, it seemed like the track wasn't really laying rubber with the temperature it is. So that's when we kind of burned up our tires a little bit. So just got to maybe work on the balance a little bit there. But, overall, really happy with our car. It looks like there's maybe a little bit off speed-wise, so just need a little bit to be just a touch faster to compete with the best car. But so far, Cincinnati Chevy's pretty good at doing everything we needed to do.
Great. Thanks, William. Track temperature, track taking rubber, back and forth, the mystery that is Martinsville with qualifying coming up.
Yep. Again, qualifying coming up here shortly. We'll look at the lap average sheet now as we went through the total time sheet already. So in lap averages, the fastest 5-lap average was actually Bubba Wallace in the 23 car, who has back-to-back top 5 finishes here at Martinsville, and I believe he has 4 top 10s in the last 6 races here, so one of his better racetracks. Kyle Larson with the fastest 10-lap average, Chase Elliott the fastest 15-lap average, Larson and Elliott for the fastest 20-lap average in practice. And it was all Chase Elliott on the long run there at the fastest 25 and 30-lap averages. But it seemed like Hamlin was definitely better than Elliott well after the 30-lap marker, and these teams had about 40-plus laps on their tires. Hamlin was definitely quicker than both the 24 and the 9. It looked like the 9 was growing a little bit too loose. So if we get those extended Martinsville extremely long green flag runs like we tend to see, and we get like 40, 50-plus laps, I think that's where I'd probably lean Denny Hamlin right now. I mean, Ryan Blaney looks really good on the long run like he usually would. I would probably lean Hamlin, Elliott, Blaney, my top 3 right now, in that order. And then Wallace would probably be the dark horse in 4th. And you can maybe alternate Wallace with Byron for that 4th spot. Probably going to be leaning that way on my fantasy team tomorrow. Although I don't think I can take Byron again. I'll have to keep an eye on that. I'll highlight the Fantasy League. If you haven't joined the NASCAR Fantasy League on the NASCAR.com website or NASCAR mobile app, chance to win 2 tickets to any NASCAR race if you're choosing the following season if you win our regular season and or playoff championship. So obviously just 2 races to go until the playoffs begin. All right, until the playoffs finish out, excuse me. We will have a champion to crown. That was my team from last week. Take a look at the league. And then you'll want to go to the playoff section. So in the playoff standings right now, Inside Uranus leads by just 2 points over P-Shat Motorsports and CRN Corona. Look at that. You got 3 teams within 2 points with 2 weeks to go. I figured Talladega was going to shake things up. My goodness. Monster Jam X10, who went into Talladega with about a 50-point lead now, is sitting 4th and sitting on the negative side of 33 points. Troy the Great rounds out the top 5, still very much in it as well at 41 points back. So 41 points with 2 weeks to go separates the top 5. We had a tie, actually, for the playoff championship last year and had co-champions. And this year, I mean, it is down to the wire with those top 5 teams. Hercules Harrigan in 6th, a little bit further back, sitting at 82 points out. Going to be very tough. I'm at 1607 and 10th. Not a great playoff for me. Dega wasn't very good last week, and Vegas didn't go very well either because I had Blaney, Byron, and a few others that ended up wrecking out in that one on my team. And Blaney and Logano again last week, and they both finished outside the top 20. Refresh the page and get the qualifying order on screen. First driver to go out in qualifying, I believe, will be Justin Haley. I was looking at that earlier. Yep. So Justin Haley for Spire Motorsports going to be the first car on the racetrack. And again, 2 laps of qualifying per driver through this session. 1 round. And that will set up the starting lineup for tomorrow's Xfinity 500. Best finish for Haley, 27th at Martinsville. That's the worst of any active driver who's had multiple races at Martinsville in the Cup Series. The best finish was in the fall of 2022. This will be the 10th career start at Martinsville for Haley. In search for a new ride. Probably not going to be at the Cup Series level next season after he is to part ways with Spire Motorsport. Was the best lap for, oh, sorry, that was Stenhouse immediately after that. 19.67, the fast lap for Justin Haley, and I believe that was lap number 2. $19.629 for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. on his second lap as he jumps to the top of the speed charts. As for Stenhouse, 3 career top 10 finishes at Martinsville. His best was an 8th-place run in the next-gen car in the spring event of 2023. Dave Burns is feeling up some rubber behind the pit wall. It's been scraped off of some of the tires. Chunking away. On to Noah Gragson following Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 11th for Gregson's best finish here at Martinsville, and that came in a fall race last season. This will be the 6th career start for Noah at this racetrack. Still in that first full-time season with Front Row Motorsports. Had decent runs at times, maybe really early in the year. Trying to get back to that with maybe a good run this season. He was putting that right up in his nose. Whoa. Dave Burns with the chunk of rubber. He was doing more than touching it. Easy there, Dave. 19.704 third out of 3 qualifiers for Gregson at the end of his 2 laps. It does seem like the second lap is the best lap for the drivers who have qualified so far. All 3 of them ran their best lap on their second. AJ Allmendinger, very early in the qualifying run, scored the pole at Bristol about a month and a half ago on the last half-mile short track. AJ has 2 career runner-ups at Martinsville for his best finish here. 7 career Martinsville top 10 finishes for AJ. One of his better tracks throughout his Cup career. Road course racing prowess really comes into play. Ricky Stenhouse, hangs on to the top of the leaderboard, though. AJ Allmendinger second with a 19.648 on lap 2. He picked up on lap 2 versus lap 1, but still not able to get there. Here's Ryan Blaney with Mama Smith for an interview.
Your dad, did he have any good notes for you after that practice run?
A little bit. Most of it was just like, I don't know. I couldn't see much. But no, I love having Dad here. I would tell him to stand in a corner too, see what he sees, and like talking about it afterwards. So,
that's right. That's right. So when you look at your car, you feel like you had something decent. I know we talked about it a little earlier, a little loose.
Yeah, new left side tire. I feel like left rear conservation is going to be a really big deal tomorrow. I know a lot of guys were kind of killing left rear tires and things like that, and that's good. I mean, fall off and things like that. So see how that is tomorrow. But yeah, I feel like I'm decent speed wise. I feel like we can really work on the car in a good direction to get better. It'll be a little bit more in the game, but yeah, just got tired Ford Mustang, has some decent pace. Hopefully we can go down a good qualifying run. So we go from there.
Jeff, you got to get the help from every angle that you can, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. What's fun about the Blaneys is that, Ryan really respects his dad, and he likes this. He likes him to have this conversation. Dave, come down and, hey, here's what I'm seeing, and look, they both know that they got all these engineers, they have all these tools, but just a face-to-face conversation about what your dad is seeing, how much he's been around. They both enjoy that opportunity.
Well, you two, both dads, are going to be watching your sons in the Xfinity race later. So, Jeff, did you give Harrison some pointers? Because he's on the pole for the race.
Well, if he's on the pole, he didn't listen to me.
Call Mom.
Yeah.
Can you give some advice to my son, man? Yeah, please.
I did give my son advice. So,
So none to my son. Okay.
apparently I should.
I get it. While we're on the happy birthday cake, happy birthday, Dave Blaney. His birthday was yesterday. Ronnie Herbst goes to the top with a nice lap at 19:52. I found it interesting what Ryan was saying about his dad, Dave. He said he asked him to go stand in the corner. We saw Chase Briscoe standing in a corner, Jeff. So what is the magic of, what do you learn standing in the corner about how a race car is handling, good or bad?
You can see, you can really see what your car is. He's looking at his son's car, what his son can do with his car versus what others can do with theirs, right? Where does it look like they're going to get beat, right? They have all this data and all this information. However, just, having a conversation with dad, right, about what he's seeing is really good information.
Like you did for years and years and years growing up before we had all these engineers. Sometimes you just need somebody to look at you in the face and be like, why are you doing this? Or is your car doing this? Or so-and-so's doing this? Like, technology's great, but it shouldn't replace the other options.
Yeah, I've heard Dave tell Ryan, hey, the Vinsky cars do this going in the corner. Why is that? And he'll go, I don't know. Let me go ask the engineers why our cars do that. So
every time my father come to the race, he would call it like he sees it. He was here one day. He saw me after practice. He told me he didn't have to see timing and scoring. He knew my car looked like junk. Better work on it. Oh, thanks, Dad.
That's very encouraging.
Oh, no, you know what it is? It's not about encouragement. He called it like he saw it.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. Unfortunately, we have millions of dollars of equipment in the trailer saying the same thing.
Yeah, 6th quickest for Cody Ware. Eric Jones out for his qualifying lap here at Martinsville. How would you sum things up, Jeff, for Legacy Motor Club as we close down the final 2 races of the year?
Very promising year. A lot of positives from this team. They brought a lot of speed to racetracks. I think now second fastest on the first lap. I think now they can go back and try to broaden that out a little bit, right? If you try to fix everything overnight, you're not going to fix anything. Now they can go back and say, all right, here's our strengths and here's our weaknesses. Let's continue to build on our strengths and kind of fix those weaknesses as well to see if they can make the next step.
Eric Jones winds up going second quick. Dave was caught up with the most recent winner in the Cup Series and into the championship for.
That is Chase Briscoe. Knows he's racing for the championship next week. What happened in practice 1? And are you in line for another pole here this season? What do you think?
I have no idea what to expect. We kind of struggled there a little bit with our Bass Pro Shops track and but we've done that other times this year, and then we're still getting qualified too. So yeah, it'll be critical, just to have a good starting spot here tomorrow. Track position's really kind of turned into the name of the game here a little bit. So yeah, confident James, the boys will get me tuned up. But yeah, practice was certainly a little concerning. We weren't as great as I thought we would be. So yeah, we're sure we'll get better here.
Little to work on, but he is right. He surprised before in qualifying. We'll wait and see.
At this lap.
And to the top for Austin Cindric.
Let's see where
on lap 1.
So the next gen track record, as I mentioned, with the 1958, could run like the 18.9s. Or that car, I should say, we're from the 18.9. Isn't that right, Russell? 18.9 something is as fast as we've gone here ever.
Yeah, a little bit slower on lap 2 for Austin Cindric. Most everybody else is picking up on lap 2, Jeff.
For a positive lap, I would say, to me, it looked like they really struggled in practice. So they were able to put something together to lay a very, very respectable lap time down. I think that helps the two Penske's. This car, the 21, and Josh Berry, Wood Brothers car, Wood Brothers from right down the road in Stewart. I thought they had potential race winning pace. Let's see what they can do in their qualifying run.
How strong they were here in the spring. They had a battery issue, Jeff, and Team Penske literally ran out of batteries. They had so many battery issues.
Yeah, and Josh Berry won a stage that day too, if I remember correctly, or was about to win a stage and then had to pit under caution. Whatever the case is, good track for Josh Berry. Got his first career Xfinity Series race win here. It really broke him on the steam when he was in a part-time ride at the time of Junior Motorsports. Eventually ended up leading to a full-time ride after he got another win later in the season at Las Vegas, filling in for an injured Michael Annett. As for Josh Berry, his best Cup race finish, 16th at this track, came last fall. This will be the 4th career Cup start for Berry at Martinsville Speedway. Austin Cindric's best finish here, 4th, which came last fall. And in the 2021 fall race, Eric Jones' best finish of 8th. They all qualified during the last few go-arounds. Cody Ware and Riley Herbst also were on the qualifying sheet. Right now, 9 drivers have completed their 2 laps. Austin Cindric has the fastest time of the 19.393. Second is Riley Herbst. Josh Berry third. Eric Jones fourth. And now Chris Buescher in 5th as the 10th driver to make a lap. 2 laps have been completed by Buescher. 19.559 on his best lap. Stenhouse is in 6th. AJ Allmendinger currently 7th. Justin Haley in 8th. Noah Gragson 9th, Cody Ware in 10th. I'm surprised AJ is as far down the leaderboard as he is, other than the fact that maybe because he was early in the qualifying session, that might have hurt him. Best finish for Chris Buescher in his Martinsville career came in the fall race of 2023, where he had an 8th place run that day. And Casey Mears, who has the best finish here of 6 2 different times, 3 career top 10s. 35th in the spring events, but he did run that race with the same team he's racing for this weekend of MBM. Full screen commercial break on True TV as qualifying coverage continues for tomorrow's Xfinity 500. Next 9 drivers to make a qualifying run will be Casey Mears, Alex Bowman, Ty Dillon, then Austin Dillon, Kyle Busch, Michael McDowell, John Hunter Nemechek, Daniel Suarez, Ryan Preece may be up soon after that as well, and that will conclude the top half of qualifying here this evening. 30 likes on the stream. Our goal is to get to 50. We did get to our like goal of 50 during the truck race yesterday, so we'll see if we can do that for practice and qualifying. And we'll continue our coverage here shortly. We'll take a quick break. Listening live. Going to have to wait and see Casey Mears' lap times here. Pace for the next-gen car much quicker in qualifying today than what we usually see for this racetrack with this car. 18.9. The time to probably beat for the pole. It's about as low as we've seen them go. 19.453 again is the current fast lap by Austin Cindric. Actually, his first lap was faster. I think his first lap was in the 19.3s. On our live raw feed, it only shows the second lap. For most drivers, that has been their quickest, but for Austin Cindric, that was not the case. Best lap on lap 2 for Casey Mears, who just rounded out his qualifying run, 19.895 for Casey. On to Alex Bowman in the 48, one of many former winners here at Martinsville Speedway. My only trip to Martinsville, Alex Bowman won that race. Alex got his only win in the 2021 fall race at Martinsville Speedway. Only one next-gen top 10 finish for Bowman. What has definitely been a down year. Still trying to get a win before the season is up. First lap for Bowman, 19.437, puts him up to second already. That's faster than Cindric's second lap, but not Cindric's first lap. And we'll see if lap 2 can be any better. No. Bowman fell off about 1/10 of a second on lap 2, just like the 2 of Cindric. So Cindric first, Bowman second now. Our current front row. Only 12 qualifiers in. Ty Dillon up next for Colleague Racing. No top 10s in his career here. Best finish 13th in the fall race of 2019 for Ty Dillon. His teammate AJ Allmendinger currently in 8th. First lap for Dillon, 19.564. So 7th on lap 1 for Ty Dillon. We'll see if lap 2 will be any better. And it is. He jumps up to 4th on lap 2. 3 spots gained. 19.526 for Ty Dillon. Pretty good qualifying effort. Average speed on Cindric's current pole lap, 97.643. It's odd that it shows the best speed, but the lap time is different. That they only show the second lap consistently. Dave Burns has caught up with Christopher Bell.
Coming here, yes, we definitely expected lap 1, and then the way practice shook out, it was looking like lap 2. First couple cars were lap 2, and then all of a sudden, last couple have been lap 1. I don't know. I think it could be either one, which is cool as a driver. You know that you're going to rip it hard both times, and see which one you hit your marks better at.
Bell headed out along with all the playoff drivers coming up here in just a little bit. Ty Dillon had a pretty good practice session. 7th fastest so far, and we'll jump up to 4th with lap 2. So he among the lap 2 group, Jeff.
Yeah, I think that decent lap for the 10 car Ty Dillon. his teammate on the dinger not lap he was looking for.
Teammate of Ty Dillon's, or not teammate, but brother of Ty Dillon, Austin Dillon, is up. I guess it'd be a teammate, just not at the racetrack. As for Austin Dillon, he has the best finish here of third, which came in the 2022 spring event, excuse me. So where Austin Dillon had that third place run. 3 career Martinsville top 5s for Dillon. And the number 3 will also put his car in position number 3 for qualifying thus far. 19.455 for Austin on his second lap, was a couple hundredths faster than lap 1. Two-time Martinsville winner Kyle Busch, looking for his first with Richard Childress Racing, is now on the racetrack. 100-plus laps led in 7 career Martinsville starts for Busch. Both of his wins, he led over 100 laps in those races. Busch to the top of the leaderboard with a 19.352. About 0.04 of a second faster than Austin Cindric to jump to the top of the pylon. 97.85 mile per hour average lap speed for Busch. Ran a 19.3 again on lap 2, but a couple hundredths off. So, Kyle Busch, first lap, quickest so far. Kyle Larson has been caught up to by Mama Smith on pit road.
Find out about this new tire coming here. A lot of unknown.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I really didn't learn what I guess I wanted to there. I think I pushed things a little too hard there. Kind of paid for it throughout the first run. And then the second run felt really weird. So I pitted, and then we went back out, and it felt a little bit more normal. So, yeah, I don't know. Just got to kind of get through qualifying here, and then talk to the team, talk to teammates, and see what they felt. And then, yeah, go from there. But I don't know. I think our HitterCars.com Chevy felt good on that short run there. So hopefully we can qualify good, and then, maintain good track position.
Steve, when you look at it, Kyle was top of the board in 10-lap average, but how hard is that as a crew chief trying to know which direction to go, right?
Well, Mama, 10 laps at Charlotte or at Kansas, I would feel good about it. You almost need like a 30 or 40 lap average to feel good about it here at Martinsville.
Yeah.
It's just such a short track, and laps go by so quick. And that actually helps me, because when I looked at 5 lap times, I wasn't sure what to make of it, but it sounds like they kind of came and went. So it'd be interesting to see, like you said, does that transition over to qualifying?
While we're chatting with Kyle Larson.
Through turns 1 and 2, Michael McDowell was tracking in the green on his first lap, back into the red in turns 3 and 4. Wrapping up the second lap for Michael McDowell, 19.399 puts him up to third. Not too shabby for the veteran McDowell. Best finish of McDowell's career at Martinsville was actually in the spring race, and his only race here was Spire Motorsports, his current race team, where he finished 12th. Jenner Nemechek's best finish 25th 2 different times, as he is on the racetrack for his qualifying and time trial run. And while he is qualifying, here's Denny Hamlin now with an interview.
Yeah. I mean, it was somewhat status quo. I think that the low-sun tires definitely go away, similar to what we used to have here. Not a whole lot of people were here 15 years ago, but 15 years ago, you could blow the left rear tire off in practice, and that was something you definitely had to manage. But certainly, it seems like this one's more like that. So hats off to Goodyear bringing that tire, and it's something that the drivers are definitely going to have to work all day to manage and make sure that they keep it under.
Thanks, Denny. Jeff, you were here 15 years ago. Ever have trouble blowing off that left rear tire?
Well, yeah, many times, Denny's right. You really had to manage that tire. And I tell you, setups make a huge difference. A lot of it goes to the drivers in regard to trying to save that left rear tire. But I'm going to tell you, a good handling race car will take care of that left rear tire as good as the driver can.
Big pickup for John Hunter Nemechek, goes 6th quickest.
Yep, there you have it, 6th quickest, as Marty Snyder was just alluding to for John Hunter Nemechek. 19.511 on the fast lap for Nemechek. Daniel Suarez in the 99 now on track. Mentioned earlier when Justin Haley was qualifying that Suarez will be racing full-time at Spire Motorsports beginning next season, after he leaves Trackhouse at season's end. 2 more races with the 99 squad, in which he has been with since 2021. Longest tenure of any other team in the NASCAR Cup ranks for Suarez at Trackhouse. Best finish is 9th at Martinsville in the 2018 fall race with Joe Gibbs Racing. Sorry, not Junior Motorsports. Wrong J name. Not a great qualifying effort for Suarez. As of right now, currently in 12th with about half of the field that still has to qualify. 19.56 was a fast lap for Suarez. On to Ryan Preece in the 60. Preece, a former pole award winner here at Martinsville. He won the pole race, or won the pole for the 2023 spring race. Excuse me on that. Finished 7th in the spring event earlier this season. Back-to-back top 10s at Martinsville for Ryan Preece coming into this weekend. Modified Series driver, definitely a track that probably traditionally would run well in a Cup car, and he has the last couple of times out. Just tracking in the green for a brief moment before the braking zone of turn 3. Gave up a lot of time through 3 and 4. I do believe his second lap is better than the first. And Preece, after being 13th on lap 1, jumps all the way up to 5th on lap 2. 19.438 for Ryan Preece. Halfway through qualifying, 19 drivers down, still 18 to go. You're listening live on KRC as our qualifying coverage continues. We'll take a quick break. Steve Rasgers. Braden, welcome to the stream. What place is Elliott? He hasn't qualified yet. The leaderboard back up on our big screen now. Just a reminder, NASCAR Xfinity Series racing will be on at 7:30 p.m. Eastern yet tonight. And we will also be live tomorrow for the NASCAR Cup race, which qualifying is currently going on for right now at 1:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So again, 1:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, we'll be live for that. I didn't realize my camera was off still. Had it off when I left in between practice and qualifying. Didn't realize I had it off during qualifying still. Sorry about that. For those of you that wanted to see my beautiful face, the 10 out of 10 beard. Zane Smith is going to be the next driver to make a qualifying run. Best finish for Smith at Martinsville, 16th in the spring race earlier this season.
Get better. You would certainly think so. Kyle Busch so far the fastest man here in Martinsville. Nice qualifying lap for that RCR team. Zane Smith taking the track. A new contract in hand, 2-year extension with the driver of this 38 machine. I think he's earned his fee.
Absolutely, I think he's done a very nice job, and I like the kind of the triple threat of young drivers that this organization has with Zane Smith, Noah Gragson, and Todd Gilliland. I think that they're all their own personalities and they have their own skill sets, but they are very like-minded. They're in the same group. You see them socially spending a lot of time together, and I think you can build an organization around that. I think there's a ton of upside, and I liked it, Zane. Like, you know, I've been impressed a few different times with this driver.
And all 3 of those drivers coming back next year. And yes, it's their friends off the racetrack. They push each other on the racetrack.
See what he can do in lap 2 here. 14th fastest on lap 1. Going to be 7th after lap 2. Dave?
Marty can confirm it is getting cool down here. Temperature dropping, Joey. Is that going to help you, or how much will it help you for your qualifying round coming up?
Well, we're going towards the end, so typically as tracks cool off, cars go faster. So we're in the right spot for that. So should help. I think our show pencil Mustangs. I think it had decent short run speed. Our long run speed is a little off. So I think we can dial that in and get a little bit closer. But I think we're in the game here.
All right, qualifying's all about short run speed, guys.
See Cole Custer on the racetrack. Their finishes last week has helped them for this week because when they go out and qualify, they're going out later than they normally do.
Sure.
When you go out early, it is a big disadvantage. So Custer sitting here just went 4 fastest. And there is an opportunity for Custer, for Gilliland, for some of these guys that have really good runs to take advantage of this late draw.
He's green here late in lap 2. Can he hold on to it?
Let's see. A&M paint scheme.
To the line, Cole Custer.
One right there.
To the top.
LSU,
I was
A&M,
gonna say,
big
yeah,
matchup.
big
A&M
matchup.
7-0, third in the country. So Custer giving that paint scheme a good ride.
What are you liking that game tonight, Stevie?
Oh, I'll take the Yankees.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Should go with
I just
LSU.
throw just a random one out there.
Come off the lawn.
I hadn't really looked at it much.
Yeah, right.
LSU off that
Oh, my
major loss at the hands of those Vanderbilt Commodores.
Football school.
For sure.
Brad Keselowski, former Martinsville winner out on the track. 2 times he's won here.
I love Brad. This is a great shot. Way off on this first lap. See the downshift. This is a much better lap speed.
Yeah, you wonder, it's so much improved that Brad did just accept it's going to be lap 2. Sounded like a little bit of a rev chip there on the backstretch.
That sounded odd, didn't it?
It did. I couldn't tell if it was the chip on top of a downshift, but it definitely had some odd sound to it. 7th for Brad.
Yeah,
That's
big
gonna
jump on
be-
lap 2 there.
Yeah.
That's Ryan Blaney messing with Tony Marshall's camera, T-Bone, as we affectionately know him. That's a robo camera inside turn 1 that Sean Owens, our director, has put down there for the fantastic shots you'll see tomorrow.
I'm gonna
Look at
tell
that
you,
view.
yeah, they were really courageous to put that robotic camera where all these drivers could get to it. If that thing's still working by the end of qualifying, miracle.
Well, it gives you that shot.
Oh, no, it'd be good for tomorrow when they're not out there standing. But right now, I mean, unhooking, adjusting.
Let's see what this does. Right? Ross Chastain. Lap 1 for Chastain. Certainly in the ball game if he can have a pickup here. 5th fastest overall.
I tell you what, he's asking everything out of that race car. When he gets done, he won't be that he underdrove it. Oh, man.
No.
Line there in turn 4, almost coming to a stop. A little bit too much. Yeah. That's Ross Chastain, though. He's going to give it everything he has.
Think 5th fastest on that first lap, Jeff.
Yeah, for sure. You can just see, didn't have the grip he was hoping for. Just asking a little more out of the race car.
You got to call it going into that corner.
Yeah, you can just see how hard he was pushing it. And that's who he is, right? That's what's got him to this spot in his career. Is he's always just gotten 100% out of his race car. Every opportunity he's ever had.
Oh, boy.
Was that on? That surely was not on purpose, was it? Was it
No.
tire warm-up, was it?
But I think the track's cooling. So, I do think you just hope the tires come in a little quick. I think he adds a little too much of the rear tires coming up to speed. It's definitely hurt. It's up to speed. Nice. So far, only a 10th off. Let's see how this 88 looks this.
Yeah, SVG wasn't very quick through the overall practice times. Picked up a little bit for qualifying. 16th is where he currently ranks. Cole Custer has the fastest lap so far in qualifying with a 19.348. Kyle Busch is currently 2nd. Austin Cindric 3rd. Michael McDowell 4th. 5th is Ross Chastain. That's your current Fast 5. SVG may be doing a little bit better on lap 2 so far than lap 1. We'll see if he jumps up at all. Second lap, 10th for SVG. He does jump up. 19.462. Picked up about 6 positions on the current ranking sheet for how qualifying has shaped up thus far. Todd Gillen will be up next after Gillen. Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace. And Carson Hocevar, of course, on track at the moment. And Hocevar, after his second lap, will be 6th on our timesheet, 19.468. Not a bad qualifying effort for Hocevar by any means there. '19th in the spring race earlier this season for Carson. 17th in the spring race last season would have been his best finish of his 3 Martinsville starts. Todd Gillen, 2 career top 10s, both 10th place finishes at Martinsville, one of which came back in the spring. So maybe Gillen's got another good run in him yet again here today. The other 10th was the fall race 2 years ago in 2023. Got the Grillo Pickles, excuse me. It was a tongue twister when it didn't need to be. I made it a tongue twister. That's a sponsorship on the card this weekend. Grillo Pickles. Not bad for qualifying for Gillen. 19.434 on lap 1. Puts him up to 7th. And remains in 7th despite picking up on the lap time sheet by a couple 1,000ths of a second. 1/1000th of a second, in fact, faster on lap 2 for Gillen than lap 1. Pretty solid qualifying effort, though, because he doesn't usually qualify well. Ty Gibbs in the 54. Up next for Joe Gibbs Racing. No career top 10s at Martinsville yet for Gibbs. He did lead over 200 laps back at Bristol a month and a half ago after starting up towards the front of the field there. 13th is the best finish for Gibbs at Martinsville, and that came in the spring earlier this season. This will be the 7th career start for Gibbs at the half-mile oval. Pretty solid first lap. 3rd at the end of lap 1 with a 19.372. And at the end of lap 2, he picked up enough to get to the top spot with a 19.288. So Ty Gibbs is now the fastest and the benchmark to beat for the pole time. JGR's had a lot of poles this season. A lot of those between Briscoe and Hamlin. And obviously Christopher Bell will still have to drive a little bit later in the qualifying session. All threats to go for Gibbs's pole lap. Tyler Reddick in the 45 for 23XI Racing up next. Best career finish for Reddick at Martinsville was in the spring race of 2024 where he finished 7th. He only has 2 top 10s and 11 career starts here. Not a great track for Reddick through his Cup career. And in qualifying, it doesn't look very strong for him either. With quite a few drivers still to go, 7th for Tyler Reddick. It looks like that is probably not going to hold for a top 10 starting spot. 19.411 was the fast lap for Reddick. And it was a 2nd. His teammate Bubba Wallace is next. Wallace, the last of the non-playoff drivers to set a qualifying lap. And for Bubba, his best career finish was also in the spring race this season, where he finished 3rd. 4 top 10 finishes in his last 6 Martinsville starts, including back-to-back top 5s. A 3rd and a 4th place run in the fall race last year for Bubba. He does have a truck win in his career at Martinsville as well. Oh no! I didn't even know! Until just now, Tyler Reddick shaved his mullet. Well, I should say his kid shaved it for him. That is unbelievable. He looks, in the moment of it happening, looks very distraught. How much of it did he cut off? Most of it. He looks like a different person. I did not know that. The mullet is gone for Tyler Reddick. Dean Tate, welcome back. What else have I done today? Not a lot. You guys have seen most of it. NASCAR 25, live commentary, practice and qualifying coverage, and then there's more coverage later tonight. Xfinity Series racing. My Michigan Wolverines don't play until 7:30 also, so got a big one tonight playing at Sparty. Battle for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. A trophy rivalry game. In-state rivalry. $37 likes on the stream. We've got over 80 concurrent viewers watching. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content along the way. Again, live commentary for the Xfinity race later. We did get to our like goal during the truck race yesterday at 50, so let's try to get to that like goal here before the end of the stream. We only have 9 drivers left to qualify for tomorrow's race. We'll take our final break of the stream. In the meantime, we'll obviously go over the starting lineup when everything concludes, and you'll get to hear interviews from the pole sitter for tomorrow's race also before we head out. I didn't realize he shaved the beard, too. That I didn't pay attention to. Mackenzie, thanks for tuning in. The beard and mullet combo. I was one familiar with those days. Now I don't have any hair on the top of my head. I had to shave mine for different reasons than Tyler Reddick shaved his. He had a full head of hair. That was not a problem. My guess is his wife probably didn't approve of it and finally decided, you know what, I should cut it. Maybe going winless this season had a lot to do with it. He's like, hey, I grew the mullet out for 1 year. I haven't won anything. Maybe I should shave it. Goes up this weekend and probably ends up winning. No, I doubt that that's going to happen. I don't see Reddick as being one of the favorites for this race. That'd be kind of a shocker, honestly, if he wins this weekend based off his practice speed. I feel like you never know in NASCAR nowadays. Martinsville may be a little bit easier to predict than some other tracks. All right, so Bubba Wallace in qualifying. We'll see where he'll end up. Going to be a little bit behind his teammate, it looks. 15th for Bubba Wallace, 19.501. Not a great couple of laps there. His first lap was better than the second. First playoff driver, Chase Elliott, who was fastest in practice overall. Elliott won the 2020 fall race before eventually winning the championship the very next week. That's the only win for him at this track. 12 top 10 finishes in the last 15 starts at Martinsville for Chase Elliott. Great track for him. 6 next-gen top 10s in the 7 next-gen races here. Fourth for Elliott in qualifying, 19.362, his best lap. On to William Byron, Elliott's teammate. Byron, a 2-time Martinsville winner, both in the spring race. He's led 351 combined laps in the next-gen era at Martinsville, most of which coming with those 2 wins he has. Pretty good in practice as well was Willie B. But in qualifying, not so much. 19.45, 13th for William Byron. And qualifying, so much off of his teammate Elliott. Third Hendrick Trio driver of the playoff drivers will be up next, Kyle Larson. Larson, a 1-time Martinsville winner in the spring race of 2023. 6 straight finishes of 6th or better at Martinsville. Best average finish in that 6-race stretch goes to the driver, the number 5. Second lap for Byron, by the way, much quicker than the first. He was 13th after lap 1. Lap 2 jumped up with a 19.286 to the pole lap, 2 1,000ths of a second faster than Ty Gibbs. I apologize for jumping a little early on that and missing that second lap. But William Byron to the top of the speed charts. 19.382 for Larson on lap 1. He is 6th. That's a major pickup from lap 1 to lap 2. Big mistake on the first lap, not as much with lap 2 if a mistake was even made at all. Second lap for Larson quicker than the first, but not enough to jump to the top slot. 19.315, just off of the front row by a couple hundredths. 5 drivers left in qualifying. It'll be Blaney, Hamlin, Logano, Bell, and Chase Briscoe. That is our final 4. Blaney, the fall race winner of the last 2 seasons at Martinsville Speedway. Finished 11th in the spring race this year. Had 6 straight top 10 finishes at the track before the spring race this season. Was lacking a bit in practice pace. I think he was 11th overall as well. Long run speed seemed to be there more than the short run, which is how he basically won the last 2 fall Martinsville races with long green flag runs in stage 3 to the checker. Is he going to have to do that 3 years in a row to make it to the championship 4? It's more than likely looking that way, as he's in a near must-win situation. Mathematically not the case, but at 47 points below the cut line, it's going to be next to impossible to point his way in above both Larson and Bell. Blaney would probably like to qualify better than where he was in practice on the speed charts. But not a good qualifying session for Ryan Blaney, and that is not a good start to the weekend. 19.606 for Blaney. Much better than that in practice, but having to come from the back in the next-gen car, you don't see many drivers win from back there too often, especially on a half-mile short track like this. He's going to have his work cut out for him. He was 28th on lap 1, 27th after lap 2. Very mediocre at best. Denny Hamlin on track. Hamlin's got the most active wins of any driver at Martinsville Speedway, 6 of them, including the spring race earlier this season, where he ended up leading for 276 laps. He's led 100-plus laps in 5 of the last 9 Martinsville races. Only 1 win in that stretch. As he goes for the Martinsville sweep, he is also going for career win number 61 after getting 60 2 weeks ago at Las Vegas. Hamlin, one of the 2 drivers locked into the championship 4 entering this weekend. Trying to get a push start off of pit road as he was struggling to get going there, but he is fired off. And at the end of the qualifying session for Hamlin, 4th quickest, 19.347 for Denny. Respectable run in qualifying, not quite going to get the pole. Front row is still held by Byron and Gibbs with 3 drivers to go, Logano, Bell, and Briscoe. Joey Logano's lone Martinsville win, 2018 in the fall. Same year of his first championship appearance, 12 straight top 10 Martinsville finishes for Logano, most of any active driver. Very consistently with getting top 10 finishes, doesn't lead a lot of laps here. Logano was quicker than Blaney in practice, gonna probably want to be much quicker than Blaney in qualifying if he's gonna want a better shot of trying to get in. But not great for Joey either on lap 120th, 19.477. A few more qualifiers after Blaney. Blaney has fallen down to 29th now. Logano, we'll see after lap 2 if he picks up at all. Second lap. Doesn't look like it was as good as the first. A little bit better for Joey on lap 2. A lot better, actually. 19.322. That was very similar to Byron, where lap 1 was like a throwaway lap, and lap 2 was just way quicker. 4th for Joey Logano. That is much better than 20th. Got to be a sigh of relief for the driver of the 22 if he heard P20 after lap 1. I doubt he did. If I'm Paul Wolfe, I wouldn't be regurgitating that at all. Christopher Bell's lone Martinsville win came in the 2022 fall race, where he won that race to get into his first championship 4 appearance. He's had 2 of them, missed out last year by 1 point to that of William Byron. Comes in just 1 point ahead of Larson. If we were to see another winner below the cut line, it'd be a battle between the 20 and the 5 on points to get into the championship 4 in 2025. Now, Bell qualified on the pole for the spring race earlier this season and finished second in that event. So he can be a threat for the pole again here. But it looks like at the end of his session, he's actually going to be outside the top 10 in 11th, 19.401 for Christopher Bell after lap 2. So 11th for Bell. One more driver to qualify. That's his teammate Chase Briscoe, who has 7 poles so far this season. Briscoe's never qualified on the pole at Martinsville, but he's qualified top 5 in 5 of the last 6 races here. Although the spring race earlier this season was one of those races where he didn't qualify inside the top 5. 6 top 10s in the 7 next-gen races at Martinsville as well. Obviously only one of which was JGR, which was this last spring, and the rest was Stuart Haas Racing in the 14. Looking down our leaderboard sheet here to find Briscoe, who did not qualify particularly well. 25th for Chase, 19.376. Probably a good thing that he won at Talladega a week ago. He was off in practice as well, right around where he qualified, actually. So, again, 20... Well, it looked like he picked up on lap 2. He was 25th on lap 1. Lap 2 for Briscoe, much quicker. He jumps up into the top 10, 9th with a 19.376. So 9th for Briscoe at the end of the second lap. William Byron has scored the pole for the Xfinity 500 at Martinsville as he tries to go for his 3rd career Martinsville win and in a maybe near must-win situation. Try to get into the playoffs. Christopher Bell qualifying outside the top 10 and Byron starting up on the pole. I'm not going to say it's impossible. I mean, Bell's probably going to have, you know, maybe some stage points in a top 20 day, but it's not impossible for the likes of Byron or Logano who start up in the top 5 to still not point their way in. They only need one of Larson or Bell not to have a good points day, and Bell starting 12th. We'll see. Mamba Smith has caught up with our pole sitter for tomorrow's race, William Byron.
Yeah, it's great. It's not the race though, so we got a lot of work to do tomorrow. But yeah, it felt good in practice and felt decent there in qualifying. It felt like it's so cold. It took a while for the tires to kind of come in, but yeah, it feels nice. First pole at Martinsville is always good. We usually struggle to qualify well here, so yeah, just excited for tomorrow. It's a big challenge, and you know, that's what counts. After 500 laps, we'll see how we are.
It's going to be pretty cold tomorrow. You've been in these situations before, won in those type of situations. How do you feel about this car? Do you think you have enough to get it done with this piece?
Yeah, it's going to be similar conditions to what it is right now. It's going to be really chilly, and the track's going to change a bunch. So we just got to do a good job communicating, talking through it, and making the right adjustments inside the car as well. So just excited for the day tomorrow.
24 group is excited to roll off tomorrow, Dave. Mama checked in with Denny Hamlin really quick. He said it just would not fire. Chris Gale, a crew chief, then offer. We just got to check with TRD, find out what it is once they get into it. And but we just don't know right now. Obviously they had to push start to get it going.
Wouldn't fire, Steve. What's a concern level for Chris Gale?
Well, I mean, like you said, you have to give it TRD. Just hope it's something that they can repair overnight, and then NASCAR will allow them to do that without going to the back. I know he's advanced through, so there's a playoff thing, but this is a race that Denny Hamlin has circled that he can go win. So he doesn't want to give up track position.
Jeff William Byron.
All right, we're going to go through the starting lineup for tomorrow's Xfinity 500 at Martinsville. William Byron on the pole. Ty Gibbs will be starting in the second place position, also on the front row. In row 2 will be Kyle Larson and Joey Logano, 2 playoff drivers. Denny Hamlin looking for his 7th Martinsville win alongside Cole Custer in row 3. Great qualifying run for Cole. In row 4 will be Kyle Busch and Chase Elliott, 2 former Martinsville race winners. In row 5, rounding out the top 10, Chase Briscoe and Austin Cindric. In row 6, Michael McDowell and the fall winner a couple of years ago of Christopher Bell. In row 7, Ross Chastain with Tyler Reddick. Carson Hocevar, Todd Gillen, row 8. Row 9 for Alex Bowman and Ryan Preece. And multi-time winner at Martinsville, Brad Keselowski with Austin Dillon in row 10. That rounds out the top half of the field. Now to the back half. Bubba Wallace and Shane Van Gisbergen make up row 11. Row 12 for Zane Smith, John Hunter Nemechek, Riley Herbst and Ty Dillon, row 13. Row 14, Josh Berry, Eric Jones. Row 15 for Chris Buescher and Daniel Suarez. Deeper in the field now, Ryan Blaney, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., row 16. Blaney qualifying 31st today. In row number 17 will be AJ Allmendinger and Justin Haley. Noah Gregson, Cody Ware, row 18. And rounding out the field in row 19 will be Casey Mears. So that's your full 37-car starting lineup for tomorrow's NASCAR Cup race at Martinsville, the round of 8 finale. Be sure to hit the like button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. We're 2 likes away from our goal of 50. So be sure to hit that like button so we can get to that goal shortly after the stream. I'll see you again in about an hour from now for NASCAR Xfinity Series race coverage tonight for their round of 8 finale, 250 laps around this half-mile short track. And we'll be back for tomorrow's NASCAR Cup race as well at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on the channel then. See you soon. See you shortly. Thanks for watching, everybody.